Miriam?
I also work in marketing with Israeli companies, and a few months ago there was an email discussion that took place on a list for professionals in Israel about marketing Israel. It was when they decided to put the cover on Maxim. There's a whole debate. Is that the only thing that we have that we can advertise? Why don't we market ourselves better? And as a result, I'm actually going to be launching a site within the next week or two dedicated to providing a more positive face to Israel using new media, because I provide new media services to Israeli companies. It's hopefully it's going to have good stories on artists, technology, not just technology. There's an emphasis on technology for good reasons, but there's a lot of other good in this country. I have a lineup of stories now that are going to be published. It's totally self-funded, so it's like we'll see how it goes. So we're going to have 1 or 2 new stories a week. And I hope to be able to set up blogs for the users. The idea was to create user-generated content, have people give their feedback on how Israel can market itself better. And if you want to take a look at it, it's called israelplug.com. You can all see. And I'd love to get your feedback because I have some people working with me.
Send me the link. First of all, I applaud you in that effort. I think that's a great example of what I call C2C diplomacy, and I think you're at the forefront of that. Let me just share just a couple thoughts. One, regarding your point on Maxim. I can understand why people might have ambivalent views on that. In my view, it was an effective sort of shocking tactic that I think had some benefit. So in terms of showing a different type of country, you know, when I worked with,
I missed Maxim. Are we talking a scantily clad woman?
Yeah,
exactly.
Exactly. Oh, scantily.
I actually brought it with me. If you want to see it afterwards, I'll show it to you.
You did?
I brought the New York Post version.
Somebody's eager.
So
No, I just want to see a little of the hype stuff.
I do think that's the case. Let me address one issue, though, that I want to caution you on. In today's age of interactivity, user-generated content, Web 2.0, if we just position ourselves as promoting good news, it's all good, it's all good, it's all good, in a way that can be counterproductive. Because if we don't have tension, if we don't have edge, if we don't have honesty, then there are going to be less people that are receptive to our message. And I think one of the power of blogs like your Zion blog is that there's a dialogue going on that questions, that can be more skeptical at times, that can employ different points of view. So I would just encourage you to think about that and not get caught in the trap of, oh, that's only good news. They're only doing.
So I thought about that definitely.
Yeah.
First of all, we have an opinion section where people, well, if anyone wants to contribute, can give their opinions on what's going on in Israel, and that can be sharper. And the reason why I decided to concentrate on good news is because if you look at the web, there's plenty of bad news about Israel. And I'm not I'm claiming to represent the government of Israel or anything like that. This is a forum for people to
remember the adage of
innovations.
Remember the adage of dog bites man
Yeah.
versus man bites dog. Just remember to try to incorporate some edge and tension in your stories.
Other question, Ron?
I wanted feedback, so...
Yes, please.
From your presentation, I could get something about the fuzzy warm area,
Right.
and about the cold ice area,
Right.
but nothing that really tackles the in-between, the I don't care.
Yes.
How do you get people to care? How do you
Yes.
get people to be interested?
Yes. That's a great point. And I want the critique on something like this because, as you can tell, this is not a lecture that I've given before. So it was designed to be experimental. Just a couple thoughts I'd share. One gets back to what Miriam talked about in the Maxim example. Here's a readership that generally, it's a young men's magazine in the United States, that would not be designed at all for people who care about Israel one way or the other. But it's trying to get Israel on their radar in a different way. I think if we look from a business point of view of what Israel has to offer, whether it's mountain biking outside the hills of Jerusalem, whether it's going to my friend Asher Sela's boxing club in South Tel Aviv. Great story, by the way, if you guys ever want to do a little case study on this. Maccabi Tel Aviv closed down its boxing gym after 60 years because they lost the lease. This man, who works very hard, senior person at Bank Mizrahi, found new space in an abandoned warehouse in Tel Aviv, in South Tel Aviv, raised hundreds of thousands of shekels, is a place that I went to yesterday, had the most amazing time. Noah, did you like the boxing yesterday? In which Russians and I think they get Ethiopian kids and some Arabs come together and box and work out. I mean, a fascinating place. So whether it's through culture, whether it's through sport, whether it's through scantily clothed young women, I mean, I don't really care. What I do care about is finding the bridge to make with those people to make it more relevant. At a certain point, though, we have to acknowledge that if I am 25 years of age and live in Arkansas and have just finished a BA from the University of Arkansas and consider myself a Razorback, that's the name of their team, that perhaps Israel's never going to be top of mind for me. But at least I'll have a better understanding of what they're about and the commonality, but also the difference. Not just the commonality. I think a mistake that we're seeing right now in some of the branding is we're just like them. We so want to be just like everybody else. We so want to be like them. We're just like the 51st state. Rather than embracing, I mean, aren't we supposed to focus on our USP, our unique selling proposition? Shouldn't we be focused on what's unique about us? And there's so much unique. So I don't know if I totally answered it, but you're right. That middle ground, I do identify them as the middle ground. But you're right. I veer this way and I veer that way rather than more down the middle. And that's an objective point. That's a good point. Yeah. There was a question here.
Well,